Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of our chats here at the Stacks Accelerator. We've got some great portfolio companies coming to talk today about the future of work. I'm Kyle Ellicott. I'm going to be your host today, a part of the Stacks team and partner there as well. And I'm joined by two outstanding founders who will introduce themselves here in just a moment. Those not familiar with Stacks blockchain, definitely check out the link down below. Stacks Accelerator, the same. We have links included in the description, stacks.ac to learn more, or follow both on Twitter as well. And with that, let's go ahead and jump right in. Dan, welcome. A little intro and background for yourself and Higher Vibes.
Thank you, Kyle. Delighted to be here. Really appreciate the opportunity. So my background, my background is in recruiting. I have about 10 years technical recruiting experience working for recruitment agencies in Asia Pac and then in Europe. I went in-house recruiting with, I worked for Amazon for a stint. I made the lucky decision, I call it, to receive some of my salary in Bitcoin back in, it was like 2016. So I've been heavily, committed and involved in Bitcoin since then. And, it gave me a chance to, I guess, working in-house and externally, it gave me a great insight into hiring, both from a recruiter's perspective and from an employer's perspective. And when I learned about Bitcoin and blockchain technology, it really opened my eyes to how transformative it is to disrupting many industries. And being involved in recruiting, I knew recruiting was no different, and it was like a train coming for it. So I met with like my two good friends from home. They're now our co-founders at Higher Vibes. We designed we wanted to build a user-owned recruiting platform where, a recruitment agency would typically earn a 15 to 20% fee when they place somebody in a job. We wanted to let job seekers recruit themselves for a job and earn a fee themselves. And that was kind of the base idea for Higher Vibes. And so we launched an MVP in 2019. And we've grown to become one of the most active job platforms in crypto. There's hundreds of openings there now, and people can apply or refer candidates to open jobs and earn a commission for doing so. And one extra component is a part of that commission gets to go to a charity of the successful job seeker's choice. And what that does, it creates really positive and good vibes, a positive user experience, and hence the name Higher Vibes. And so it's a really circular, holistic kind of a solution to hiring. It also benefits the employer's brand, the company culture, the morale when they see the transparent donation that we produce. And so it's working quite well. And right now we're really focused on building infrastructure for the gig economy, and we're building out on Stacks right now. So it's a really exciting time, and we're really enjoying it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Dan. We're going to come back and break some of that down as well. Want to learn a little bit more, why Stacks, some of the incentives that you've created, et cetera. But you mentioned gig economy, and next I want to welcome Sahib from Seek. Sahib, a similar introduction and background for everybody.
Sure, definitely. Thank you, Kyle. Well, I'm Sahib, the managing director of Seek One Group. And that's basically the holding company that I co-founded here in Bangkok, Thailand about 5 years ago. And we had a simple, I would say, vision of empowering millions of micro entrepreneurs, right? And the simple goal there was to kind of just unlock opportunities for the gig economy, for these independent workers that we know today, right? The gig economy has always been around for the longest of time, And I guess for us, it was just a simple, goal of unlocking opportunities. And when we talk about opportunities, obviously the opportunities start off from jobs. And that's what we tackled here locally in Thailand, in just creating jobs for these gig workers, for independent workers. 5 years down the line, we're now the largest in Thailand. We have created more than 700,000 jobs for more than 20,000 service providers, which has drawn an income of about 8.5 million US dollars that has gone back into their pockets as revenue. Then I mean, that part of the whole journey is something we are very proud of, and successful from creating that. But I guess that the next question, as the next element of the entire, let's say, empowerment or attaining towards that financial freedom of opportunities, is actually financial stability, right? So one thing you realize is that service providers or independent workers, they can work day in, day out to get, from jobs that they receive, but they don't necessarily have the right access to finance, their access to tools that they manage finance, or even access to actually financial knowledge, right? And this is where Seek comes into play, right? Because thanks to Web3, thanks to blockchain, thanks to decentralized, we now can be able to, regardless of their race, their nature of job, their credit scoring, you actually can bridge this entire gap of having service providers access to finance, right? So it's what Seek is doing here is building a decentralized platform on our protocol to be able to bridge this entire gap between the service providers, or I say independent workers worldwide, not just Thailand, not just Southeast Asia anymore, and bridge that gap to access finance, DeFi, jobs, and a lot more other different things that's comprised in the ecosystem. To break it down very simply, what we are really trying to do as a first step is create the Seek passport, which then becomes the digital identity for every independent worker to create their identity on blockchain, right? So it's not just about creating an identity on the online space, but it's actually creating identity on the blockchain. And then once you have this identity, then you're actually being able to accept jobs, right? So think about freelancer, think about Upwork, but now you're not actually deducting 20% commission from these independent workers anymore, but you're only deducting maybe a 1 or 2%, and they're able to accept payments through crypto, right? And the cherry on top of this is that now when you accept your payments in crypto, you can actually stake this or actually lend and borrow within the DeFi ecosystem for, let's say, a higher yield of minimum 9 to 11% per annum, compared to the traditional, rat race of being able to, borrow from the loan sharks and then being eaten up, right? Or not even having that stability to or access to finance, because what happens in this, in this traditional world, especially in Southeast Asia, is you accept a job, you earn money during the day, you spend it during the night, right? It's basically the same rat race you're living in. So what Seek is trying to do here, in simple words, is we're trying to bridge the gap. We're trying to empower independent workers and building this awesome protocol and stacks to be able to empower millions of micro entrepreneurs by unlocking opportunities for them.
I love it. So there's a lot to break down there. So let's try to start in one particular place. The future of work. One of the things that you brought up was DID, or digital identity, and the passport that you and Seek are creating. Talk to us a little bit more about how this passport may be representative of future resumes, future jobs. I mean, is this something that you and the company view as that future resume, where all the work that you do is on chain, all the financial data you have is on chain, built into the blockchain, and goes with you wherever and anywhere?
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's like the fundamental, thought process behind this entire process of actually creating this passport. So I'd like to kind of classify independent workers, let's say, in 3 different formats, right? So post-COVID, the first thing that we've seen is, the first category of people are the people that perhaps lost their job and are in the market for a new job, right? So we know that fact. Well, the second kind of people are people that actually have a stable income, but all of a sudden they want to do something a bit more, I would say, in the freelance world, right? They just want to perhaps pick up a few gigs here and there to earn more money, for instance, right? And the third kind of people are they had a stable job, you know, they loved I mean, I wouldn't say they loved, but they had a stable job, they were paying their bills, but now all of a sudden they want to switch away from stable job and be able to create their own financial freedom. So I would say the number one reason of this whole identity first up is, you know, there is a digital identity for on platforms like LinkedIn, right? But to take it one step ahead, when you talk about resumes, all that we're seeing on LinkedIn or let's say Facebook or Twitter are all these kind of white collar people, people like you and I, that have some sort of a digital, you know, not just identity but digital literacy, right? But what Seek is actually doing is we're going all the way from blue to the pink to the white collar, right? Is people who have never got access to internet, people who have actually never, I mean, perhaps had access, I mean, access to kind of different gig platforms, but never onto the blockchain world. Now, so the first thing was the type of people, right? The second thing was the category of workers, so blue, pink, white. And the third thing is, imagine today we already see multiple gig platforms like I would say Airbnb, you know, where you can host, you can see Ubers, you can see the Grabs, and you know all those kind of different platform businesses that has come up. um, what we kind of see as a future of work is that we believe that a provider should not be confined to one platform. A provider or an independent worker should always have the option to earn different kind of financial revenue from different kind of platforms, right? Regardless of geography. Today, I'm in the UK and I want to shift out to the US, my data should not be wiped out as an Uber driver in the UK if I had to go get a new job as a driver perhaps or as a bartender in the States, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
what we want to do is in simple, we want to be able to create this passport which has all the course, all the right information of your similar to a resume, but all like the
Mhm.
certification skill sets, reviews, rating jobs that basically represents you regardless of your profession, regardless of your race, regardless of your kind of geography that you're currently based on. And then we believe that this being on chain will be able to access a lot of different opportunities regardless of which platform you're actually applying for.
Well, and speaking of opportunities, Dan, I want to come down to you on this. I mean, you are one of the leading job boards and platforms in the crypto space, and you're providing more opportunities. But to Sahib's point, I mean, as the gig economy goes, we should be able to do everything and anything in wherever we may be, and let that go with us. At Higher Vibes, it sounds like that's something you're doing. I mean, not just by posting these great applications, but also providing incentives on both sides and the charitable content as well. I mean, a similar question to you is that effort, or are those efforts, something that is going to be built into our future resumes?
Absolutely. We're doing something really interesting on resumes right now. We did some research. One of the first reported applications of the resume was by Leonardo da Vinci in 1482, about over 600 years ago. He seemingly applied for a military engineer job with the Duke of Milan, and he put his skills on his CV, and he applied for the job. And fast forward to today, people are still applying with the same CV type of a document, and this is ripe for disruption because like when people first, you can imagine like a CV is a document that somebody creates. It's like their opinion, and they try to sell themselves to try and give themselves the best chance of getting a job. And for a recruiter, like they have to do extensive questioning to qualify and to screen that CV to make sure to get enough data to make an informed hiring decision. But in our freelance platform, a record of the job and the satisfactory level of each gig that's completed will be stored on chain. And we're going to like be able to, we're creating like NFT CVs, would you believe? So, which means all, sorry, my internet could a little. Sorry, am I back?
You're back. NFT CVs, which it sounds like we're moving into a new future around a potential DeFi, decentralized finance opportunity, but we'll come back to that. Tell us more about NFT, non-fungible token based CVs.
Well, an NFT applies to just about any digital file or asset, and it certifies it as an authentic, one of a kind. And when it comes to CVs, like on LinkedIn, in 2019, I think LinkedIn removed 20 million fake profiles. So LinkedIn is full of fake profiles, and we're living in the age where you have like a lot of fake news and deep fakes, and I think as we have these tools available to us now, like NFTs and blockchain, we can just add that layer of verification to people's like previous work history, and from a recruiter's perspective, this is going to expedite the hiring process dramatically. If a recruiter is able to, view someone's NFT CV that kind of has on-chain verification of each gig that was completed, they don't necessarily have to trust and screen that did they do that work. It's all going to be provable that yes, they did complete that work, and this actually leads to a massive opportunity for the talent. So today in LinkedIn, it's the biggest talent database. They have 700 million user profiles, and LinkedIn earn billions from like selling user data to recruiters who are searching for candidates. And of course, the users don't get any of this revenue. It's a typical walled garden, and in Web3, like it's completely changing, turning this model on its face. In Higher Vibes, we're going to like build a decentralized talent database. So today we already have a database in our platform where recruiters come in, they can search our database and find candidates. Soon, when we apply the NFT feature, it won't be so easy to just access the user's data. The user will be able to control who accesses their data and for how much. And so the user will be able to monetize their data instead of LinkedIn. And that's a really exciting initiative. And for us, it's going to be an extra incentive for talent to join our platform. Not only will they earn fees when they get hired for a job, they'll also earn fees in micropayments when recruiters want to search our database. And it's a really interesting. It's got a really interesting potential. And ultimately, it benefits the users. It gives them equity and data ownership, and it benefits the recruiters. It gives them that verification up front. They don't have to trust or verify. Or sorry, they're able to verify. They don't have to trust. And so, it's a really interesting innovation, and we're excited to bring this to market.
Well, this is going to be exciting. Really exciting to see how this opens up into the future of work, because we know that areas like play to earn are starting to not just thrive in the gaming industry, but starting to move into the enterprise as well. And seeing that in addition to content, we spoke with Seigel last week and what they're doing around content creation on blockchain as well, tying in now with both Seek and yourself. I mean, this is the future of work as we're seeing it flourish here in Web3 today. As well as both of your platforms are live. This is very exciting as well. And Sahib, I want to come to you next around a word you continue to use, and that's protocol. And the second being decentralized and blockchain being third. Why blockchain? Why did you want to bring blockchain and particularly stacks into the Seek protocol to help with its next chapter into Web3?
Yeah, sure. I think the first question, why blockchain? As much as this entire offline work, or I would say the off-chain work that we've been doing with the whole technology at Seekster and the other products that we have, I think the eventual goal of creating jobs comes to a point where you would have to depend a lot on centralized financial institutions, which could be a great bottleneck in the near future, right? We're already seeing a lot of, I would say banks moving into the DeFi or the decentralized, because we know that's the future, right? And when we want to talk about giving or accessing or creating that access to finance for these workers or independent providers, we believe that this is one of the important elements out there. Apart from that, I believe that the reason why we want to build this under the whole blockchain umbrella is because the whole transparency is key, right? The whole transparency for service providers to not be able to fake it, or to not just be able to kind of create some fake profiles. Just now Dan mentioned about LinkedIn having 700 million resumes, and somehow people, or I'd say people that are seeking for jobs, creating that kind of fake profiles to be able to, access or accept jobs. I think one of the most key elements of leveraging what blockchain offers is the transparency, right? And then everything else that the whole entire ecosystem of blockchain enables you to. Decentralized finance is just one part of it, right? Imagine the pension funds, imagine the insurance funds, imagine what you just mentioned just now, play to earn. That has become a massive, massive concept here, starting from Vietnam and then now the whole world. And then, we can see NFTs taking play into that. And it's interesting that you brought that up, because that's actually something very interesting that we're trying to incorporate, right? Because think about it, in our app, apart from just accepting and waiting for jobs, you have the ability to browse through our app to be able to actually access finance, but you also have an element of fun to be able to play a game and earn money through that, which you can go back and stake, or actually have access to NFTs as well, right? So that whole element of creating, I'd say, a new world for like the blue, pink, and white collar, mixing an element of what Higher Vibes is doing of accepting jobs, or creating that bridge to jobs, and then the play to earn, and then the decentralized finance. I think this is impossible without blockchain, right? To answer your second question, why Stacks? I think Stacks, looking at everything else on the layer one technologies, the technology that Stacks has built, especially on Bitcoin, like we cannot deny the fact that this is Bitcoin is the store of value that is still the most trustable today, right? And we cannot deny the ecosystem Stacks is working to build on. I think this is gold, right? We believe this is gold out here. So it's not the biggest ecosystem like the ones of the Ethereums and all have built, but I guess this also gives us that that advantage of being the first movers in such an awesome ecosystem to build the future.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, I want to come to both of you for closing thoughts. So Dan, let's start with you. Closing thoughts. What is the future of work from your view at Higher Vibes? And then where can everyone find you and the company online to continue the conversation?
Thank you, Kyle. For me, it's actually a line from the book, The Sovereign Individual. It says, in the metaverse, a job is not a position you hold, it's a task that you do. And I think the world of work is going to be completely unrecognizable in like 10 years time. I think like the traditional workforce are being dematerialized in some sense. The idea before of you going to an office to sit, you travel in traffic to sit down in an office, and then you work on for 9 to 5 and then come home. I think it's yeah, sorry, I just cut out. I think it's ripe for disruption right now. I think like Sahib mentioned, with the ability to like participate in DeFi and play to earn on his platform, I think it's really phenomenal. I think more work will be gamified in the future to make it interesting and enticing for this generation of talent. this generation grew up on TikTok and Fortnite, and it's it's natural for them to expect to be able to earn from playing games. And I think work will become gamified, and in these virtual economies, people can do jobs for cryptocurrencies, but they can also earn NFTs and resell those NFTs, and that's another way of earning income. And I just think these tools that we have right now are going to have a massive positive effect on the global economy. I love how Seek are catering for the blue collar workforce. I think that's a really underserved area of the market. And Higher Vibes, we're doing something similar where we today there's a 3 billion strong workforce, but yet a lot of the problems in society are getting worse with poverty and pandemics, etc. And I think Web3 is going to go a long way to alleviating some of the world's most pressing problems by giving ownership, shared ownership with the users who are creating the value. And I think the firm is being dematerialized, and I think it's a really exciting time for humanity. And yeah, we're just grateful to be involved in this space.
Thank you very much, Dan, as well. Sahib, same to you. Closing thoughts, vision of future work. Where can everyone find you in the company?
Yep. Great. So I keep saying this to the team, at back at the office, and something that I keep pushing out there, right? I think Airbnb built a billion-dollar company by leveraging underutilized assets of space, empty rooms. Uber built a billion-dollar company leveraging underutilized assets of cars and automobiles. I think we are in a space of leveraging the largest underutilized assets, that's people, right? So I just want us to imagine that today, with the help of blockchain, with the help of what this entire ecosystem has to offer, right? And there are all these keywords of metaverse and everything else, but just to keep it really simple, imagine how people can upskill and reskill themselves, right? And I believe that this is going to be the future of work, where they have the access to tools, they have the access to knowledge. And what we are building here, what Higher Vibes, Seek, and everyone else are in the cohort similarly, is we're building the ecosystem, the right tools for them to survive, to grow, and to live in this ecosystem, right? So because the kind of stuff that they have been exposed to is gonna be dinosaur, not in the next generation, but I would say in the next few years, right? COVID has accelerated e-commerce and everything else 10 years in advance, right? But I believe the whole pandemic and the addition of blockchain, the development of crypto, and this whole Web3 dynamic has accelerated what we were to see in the next 5 or 10 years within the next couple of years, right? So I'm super excited to see what the next, I would say, even 12 to 24 months, can be molded into for people out there that actually understand the value that sitting in your regular office behind a laptop isn't work anymore, right? I think there's so many different ways of earning a living today, so many different ways of accessing financial revenue or creating income that can eventually also allow them to reach financial freedom. And that's what I'm super excited. I'd love to connect with anyone that's already working in this space, perhaps corporates, partners that actually want to, decentralize their workforce, whether it be it internal workforces, external workforces. My name's Sahib Anand Songwit. You can find me on LinkedIn, or just search for Seek, and you will see our company profile, and then search out for me. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you both very much. To the audience for tuning in. Again, thank you everybody for checking out the Stacks and Stacks Accelerator as well. Make sure that you do reach out to both Seek and Higher Vibes to connect for the future of work and the gig economies if you haven't done so already. With that, everyone, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. We'll be back here with more, breaking down different industries with the companies a part of Stacks Accelerator, and much more. Until then, everyone have a wonderful day. And we'll see you soon. Take care, everybody.